Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on Leverage Your Tourism Network. My name is Naomi Farrelly and I'll be your presenter today. The webinar is part of a series Sparrowly Group delivers under its Build Better Business program. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we work today and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this session. I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Some housekeeping before we begin. The session will be recorded and the resources will be shared with you. We welcome you to revisit the recording yourself and also to share it with colleagues. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the Q&A box, which you'll find at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll go through these at the end of the webinar. If you're having any technical issues, please also use the chat box and Fed will respond to you directly. We don't have long, so let's get started. So that you can focus on the content, I'm going to turn off my video and we'll get into it. So let's break it down. What are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about what is the tourism ecosystem, how you work with it, and what tools and resources you need. So an ecosystem is a complex network or an interconnected system. I'm sure that you're aware of the many organisations, industry bodies and tourism associations that coexist within the tourism industry. It's the cool thing about working in tourism. You're part of a much bigger network with partners that are there to support you and help to grow your business. I'm sure you're also aware of how confusing that is. And sometimes you might be left wondering, who is everyone and what's their role and how does it all relate to you? It doesn't help that most of the time these are usually talked about in their acronyms and you might not know what or who they are. So I hope to be able to simplify this as much as possible for you today. So essentially, this is the tourism ecosystem. Looks a bit scary, but it's a network of organisations working together to support tourism operators and collectively grow the visitor economy. It's a powerful ecosystem that you can all work with. Think of it like a sales funnel, with a tourism organisation spending millions of dollars on demand-driving marketing activities, that is stuff to motivate people to travel, and funneling potential customers through to your individual businesses. We'll go through each of one of these in more detail, but essentially we start at the top with Tourism Australia, whose lead role is to drive international visitors into Australia. They've delivered massive campaigns globally. Now, in response to COVID, they've shifted their focus back to domestic, encouraging Australians to have an Australia experience. Tourism Australia is all about stimulating demand and creating awareness of Australian experiences. They will now start to refocus to international over the coming months as we look to opening our borders to inbound visitors. Then we have what's called the State Tourism Organisation, for example, Tourism and Events Queensland or Destination New South Wales. They drive visitation, both international and domestic, to their state with a goal to grow the state's visitor economy. Then as we work down, we've got regional tourism organisations who ensure that a region's industry and partners are enabled and supported to maximise opportunities at all levels. This can include marketing, industry development and infrastructure. In New South Wales, these are called destination networks. They support the next layer down, which is the local tourism organisations who promote their own town or city and the products within them. And then most importantly, there's you, tourism products and experiences. You deliver exceptional experiences for visitors. And without excellent tourism products and experiences, the work that the tourism organisations do becomes null and void. Tourism organisations don't have products to sell. They're reliant on you to deliver their brand promise. So that's why you're really important. The ecosystem is supported by tourism products and experiences and amplified by the programs and partnerships that each organisation delivers. Connecting all parts of the ecosystem is the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, which sits across the top there. It's a national database of tourism products and experiences. And listings on ATDW is free in most states and territories and provides you not only direct to consumer marketing benefits, but also visibility to tourism organisations. Tourism organisations use ATDW when they're looking for products and experiences to include in their marketing programs. Put simply, if you're not on ATDW, your tourism organisation may not know that you exist. So let's break down the layers of the ecosystem one by one. Firstly, let's look at Tourism Australia. They're the government agency responsible for attracting international visitors to Australia, both for leisure and business. Pre-COVID, they were active in 15 key markets, but like all of us, have pivoted and currently are working closely in the domestic space. Their role is still the same, inspiring travellers to have an Australia experience. There are a number of programs for distribution partners, industry and media that they run. Activities include advertising, PR and media programs, trade shows, consumer promotions, online communications, and consumer research. Some of their key programs include demand driving marketing activity. So currently, they've got a domestic focus with the holiday here this year and Give the Gift of Travel campaigns with Hamish and Zoe Blake, encouraging Australians to have an Australian holiday. Their focus will revert back to international in 2022 as international borders commence reopening, with domestic marketing reverting back solely to the state tourism organisations. There's distribution programs where they work closely with airlines and travel companies on cooperative marketing to drive conversion. So that's partners that connect consumers with products. So things like whatif.com, Webjet, Flight Centre and Qantas. They also run media programs to increase the coverage about Australian experiences across the media. They host media for meals for consumer and trade publications, broadcast crews for television and online channels, as well as advocates and digital influencers with strong followings on social media and other platforms. There's the Aussie Specialist Program, which offers training for travel agents on how to sell an Australian holiday. Thousands of agents are trained globally, and they're now rolling this program out domestically as well. The Signature Experiences of Australia program, which promotes Australia's outstanding tourism experiences with a variety of niche areas or special interest categories. So things like luxury lodges, golf courses, guided walks, Aboriginal experiences, fishing adventures, wildlife encounters, and cultural attractions. And they also have the Friends of Australia program, which is an ambassador program supported by a range of influential people across sports, fashion, celebrity chefs, environmentalists, entrepreneurs and artists, people like Chris Hemsworth and Kylie Minogue, who tell their Australian stories through their channels and in support of Tourism Australia. So how can you work with them? We'll be sharing a resource with you at the end of the webinar on working with Tourism Australia in the domestic market, but essentially you can work with them through a range of programs, through their campaigns. So operating on that national level and providing national messaging, they're encouraging customers to view the whole of Australia. The best way for operators to get involved in campaigns is by echoing the same messages that they're sharing. So singing from the same song sheet. Currently, the holiday here this year Gift of Travel campaign is being rolled out, and industry can get involved by downloading the campaign toolkit, accessing the campaign logo and other resources in their marketing activity. With borders opening to Singapore, the Yours to Explore campaign is currently running in this market as well. There's research and insights available. There's heaps of it there that you can access to help with your business planning and helping you to understand travellers. You can access this online via their corporate website, tourism.australia.com. Recent market research and stats include domestic performance dashboard, aviation stats, and tourism statistics about visitor spend and the number of customers from different markets, and specific market region research as well. They run a whole range of social media activities, so you can keep using the hashtag #CAustralia on all of your social content. PR and media activity. It's really easy to get involved in this, and you can see some great traction by working with Tourism Australia on this. Make sure you contact your RTO or STO in the first instance, but Tourism Australia can promote your product via a range of PR and publicity initiatives, like highlighting your news in Australian Stories, which is a section of their weekly industry newsletter Essentials. And for new tours, accommodation, attractions, restaurant openings, events, festivals, announcements, send all of your media releases through to their PR teams. They are always looking for new story ideas, so make sure that you're sharing yours. The Aussie Specialist Program you can get involved in as well. So this is about training travel agents on how to sell Australia. So commissionable tourism operators can engage with agents through their travel club, which is a discounted travel program, and also by providing product training videos for the travel agents. And finally, there's business events and industry events. There's a whole range of events that happen to support the industry. And resources are available on government support programs, and there's a whole lot of webinars as well to support the industry. Most importantly too, they have their industry relation team. So this is your go-to and your key contacts at Tourism Australia. So make sure you connect with your industry relations manager. They divide the country by state, so keep them up to date on your product or experience. We're going to share the key contact details with you in the follow-up information. So that's Tourism Australia. Next, we've got the state tourism organisations. So let's look at how they work. Their role is to support the development and marketing of sustainable tourism destinations and experiences within their state to increase the awareness of their state and attract visitors into their state. There is one for each state and territory. So we've got Destination New South Wales, the South Australian Tourism Commission, Tourism and Events Queensland, Visit Victoria, Tourism Tasmania, Visit Canberra, Tourism Northern Territory, and Tourism Western Australia. They work closely with Tourism Australia, ensuring alignment with their programs and working on cooperative activities where relevant. The key programs that they run vary from state to state, but generally they include positioning and marketing the states, metro and regional, to domestic and international visitors with large campaigns and PR budgets. They attract and secure high-value major events, sporting, cultural and business events to their state, deliver value in partnerships and cooperative marketing programs like Tourism Australia, working with conversion partners to drive bookings. And they build capacity across the tourism industry through product and industry development programs. So how can you work with your state tourism organisation? Most importantly, it's about leveraging their campaigns and their activity. So at the moment, there are a number of campaigns in the market for intrastate and interstate activity, with some now being used in the international marketplace as well. These include Feel New South Wales, run by Destination New South Wales, Good to Go, which is Tourism and Events Queensland, Wander Out Yonder in WA from Tourism Western Australia, Come Down for Air and Make Yourself at Home, Tourism Tasmania, a little more from the South Australian Tourism Commission, and Stay Close, Go Further and Kind Travel in Visit Victoria. For each, there are industry toolkits to be found within the resources and ways to get involved. So get in touch with your state tourism organisation to find out more about this. They also have partner opportunities. They all work differently, but there's a range of different ways that industry can work with them, including accessing their research and insights at a state level, social media promotion for resharing. Make sure you're using the hashtags for your state tourism organisation. Again, they do PR like Tourism Australia with Famil's editorial and advertorial opportunities. Business events, so they're looking at conferences and meetings. For example, Destination New South Wales have a specific regional conferencing unit which attracts conferences into regional New South Wales. And each STO works closely with the relevant business event organisations and agencies in the major cities as well. State tourism organisations also run trade marketing activities. So that's product development activities, working with distribution partners and trade shows to educate the travel trade about the products and experiences within their state. And finally, that ATTW listing, which is really important. It means that you've got more of a chance to be promoted and featured by the state tourism organisation in their activities. Every tourism business should have a listing on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. Currently, it's free in all states and territories. So if you don't know what ATW is or how to set up your listing, we've run a webinar on this and we can share the resources with you as part of the follow-up. So next down is the RTO, or the Regional Tourism Organisation. So they usually represent a collective of cities, towns or localities in a region. Regional tourism is really vital to is a really vital sector of the Australian economy and key to the sustainability and vibrancy of many communities. So while international borders remain closed, growing regional visitation or driving dispersal is a key focus for Tourism Australia and the state tourism organisations. And to do this, they work with RTOs. So some examples of RTOs include Tourism North East in Victoria, Bundaberg Regional Tourism in Queensland, the Florio Peninsula Tourism in South Australia, and in New South Wales, the 6 destination networks. The role of an RTO and its structure and funding model varies from state to state. We are a federation, of course, and each state likes to do things their own way. Some are marketing organisations, others are destination managers. So it's important to note that not all regions have an RTO. For example, in New South Wales, the 6 destination networks replace the RTO model and act as administrative bodies rather than marketing bodies. So make sure you understand what yours is, its role and how they work. No matter what their structure, what they all do have in common is focusing on growing the visitor economy for their region. What they do is act as a conduit between the local tourism organisation or the local government association and the state tourism organisation, and they work closely with the local organisations to identify key operators and their products and experiences for further industry development. So how can you work with them? Again, it depends on the structure. They're all a little bit different, but they may have cooperative campaigns. For some destination marketing activities that you can get involved in is a really key part of their programming. They may have industry and product development opportunities, including industry training and workshops. They may also run for mills in conjunction with TA and the STOs, and product showcases to connect operators with STOs and Tourism Australia and other distribution partners, and networking and industry opportunities to connect with other operators, which is really important. So the local tourism organisations is the next level down. So their role is really about strengthening local tourism businesses by liaising with regional tourism organisations and state bodies on behalf of the operators. They may be internal to council or external to council, operating as an industry body. The structure really varies from destination to destination. For example, where I'm located in regional New South Wales in Destination Sydney Surrounds North, there are 13 local government areas and each one's tourism structure is different. So make sure you reach out to yours and understand how they work. The council still plays an important role regardless, and your local council can advise you around building, zoning, operating and health and safety issues that you need to consider for your business. They can tell you if you need to make a formal application for approval to develop or operate. They'll also have information on future town planning that might affect your business, like roadworks, signage and other developments. The council may have an employee whose role is managing tourism within your local area, who can give you up-to-date local knowledge and information on current issues as well. They may also provide you with local contacts for the tourism organisation, the visitor information centre and tourism managers where they exist. So examples of local tourism organisations could be the City of Newcastle, Destination Port Stephens, Hawkesbury City Council or Central Coast Tourism. So their role is really about promoting the region on a local level with destination marketing, looking at infrastructure and product development on a local level, working closely with operators and their products and experiences for further industry development, and visitor servicing in some locations. So each LTO and visitor information centre operates independently in most cases, but both are important. So how do you work with them? Go and meet them, make contact with them and participate in local tourism activities that they run. Contact your LTO and your visitor information centre team to learn more about the services that they offer and the benefits that they can provide for you, and what industry development opportunities they might run. You could also offer a familiar of your product for visitor information centre and tourism staff so they can really come out and see what you offer firsthand as well. And then finally, we have tourism products and experiences. So this is you, the operators on the ground, who provide amazing experiences for visitors to create advocates and drive repeat visitation and referral visitation into a destination. So as an operator, you've developed a product and experience that it's aligned to your customer segments using the research that's available from Tourism Australia, the STOs and the RTOs. You also create an overall visitor experience with a really unique selling point and deliver marketing activities on your own and work with distribution partners. Tourism operators and the RTOs, LTOs and visitor information centres work within and in partnership with the diverse local tourism industry, including other operators, industry associations, support services and government agencies. Don't be an island. You're not alone. Working together with other businesses and tourism organisations and associations is really key to growing the collective pie, and that's what it's all about. So how can you work with other operators? It's really important that you do when you think about cooperation and collaboration, not competition. So think about the connections that you can make. Whenever I do a workshop in region and we bring operators together into the one room, I'm always amazed at the new connections that form. So be proactive and find out about what other local tourism businesses are operating in your area and reach out to them and start to talk about working together. So you could do that by bundling and packaging offers to create a more appealing offer for visitors. Just referring products to other businesses as well, telling your customers, where to go next and what other great experiences there are to do in the destination. Networking is so important, and there's always new people to meet. So make sure you get out as much as you can and network with other businesses. And also peer-to-peer mentoring. So it's a tough gig for small businesses out there. There's always so much to do. And you're all similar businesses generally in the tourism industry, working in the same space with a lot of the same challenges. So we really encourage businesses to Share their knowledge and learn from each other. So start talking to other operators about the booking platforms they're using or how their marketing is going and help each other out. That was a very detailed and very quick review of the key players in the tourism ecosystem, what they do and how you can work with them. There are more like distribution partners, industry associations, local business chambers, and other government agencies. But starting with this network, how can you actually work with them and harness the power of what they do? So we're a friendly bunch in the tourism industry. You want to create a really simple plan to start working with them. We believe in keeping it simple and don't overcomplicate it, right? Start local and with other tourism products and experiences and continue to build and grow from there. You want to keep top of mind when you communicate with people and provide partners with important updates where relevant. To support you with this, we're going to share with you a checklist where you can collate and update all of your key contacts. Remember, don't be shy. You'll find that everyone really does want to support and help each other. It's a friendly bunch of people, so get out and just start talking to your local tourism organisation and other local tourism businesses. And over time, what you find in the tourism industry is that friendships really do form. But they take, like other relationships, time to grow and prosper. It's important that you get to know the key contact people at each level and build rapport and understanding of the role that they play and what information that they need from you. For example, your local visitor information centre needs details of tour times and costs. Media teams need story ideas and great images, and trade marketing needs fact sheets and rate sheets and really specific type information. So relationships are a two-way street. Contact the key tourism organisations and ask how you can help them. So it all starts with that initial introduction, the meet and greet, the phone call or an email. But be really, truly effective and to harness the full power of the network, you need to have all of your materials and toolkits and information prepared. So you should have done this as part of a marketing toolkit anyway. So make sure you've got brochures, you've got fact sheets, you've got standard product descriptions, rate sheets if necessary, a selection of really good high quality imagery and video available. And then create that database and then share the information regularly with your contacts and keep them up to date with the information and changes to your product and experience. Communicating regularly is really the key. Once you've made those connections, you want to nurture those connections. We're all busy people, and while the ecosystem is there to support you, you need to be proactive and keep them up to date at all levels on your product so that you stay top of mind. A quick email update, a check-in, Christmas note, or thank you for a media program that you were included in or a social post that they shared. It's the little things that you can keep doing just to keep the message, keep your business top of mind. When you're doing this, keep the message simple, but keep it regular. So that concludes the content for today's webinar. A quick recap off on what we've covered. We've talked about knowing why the tourism ecosystem is important and all the different players within that. Networking and building relationships within the tourism ecosystem. The importance of communicating regularly, but having your materials prepared before you start to communicate. And don't be shy, be proactive. It all just starts with one email or one phone call. Tomorrow, you'll receive an email from us with a recording of the webinar, the presentation slide, and 2 resources that you might find useful. A Working with Tourism Australia guide and a checklist to record all the relevant information and contacts that you build up for your database. Please feel free to share this email with colleagues and businesses that you might think will find it useful. So now, let's get into the questions. Fed, have you got any questions there in the box?
Hey Naomi, yeah, we have a few questions that came through. So the first one is, how often should I update my STO?
Sure, that's a great question. So to update, you want to make sure first of all that you've made an initial contact and the introductions. Then you'll maybe add them to your newsletter list so that they're getting that quarterly as you send out newsletters or however frequently they go out. So that's good to have a baseline contact and just have that regular communication set. But it's also important to have timely communication for critical things like if there's new tours that you're operating or prices change for your product, for example, or maybe you're closing for a period of time. Anything that's timely, let them know as that happens. But as a minimum, aim for a quarterly update through to them.
Thank you. The next question is, how do I know who to contact in these organizations? And how do I know that it will be circulated internally?
Yeah, another great question. So it really does vary from organisation to organisation. So Tourism Australia have got their industry development manager, and their details will be in the resources that we share with you. So that's your key contact there. Then the state tourism organisations have different contacts. It's probably the easiest thing to do is just to pick up the phone and just ask exactly who the right person is for your business to speak to. In New South Wales, there's a product development team that you can reach out to. And at the regional level, there's industry development teams as well. But to start with, talk to your local tourism organisation or your local council contact that looks after tourism, because they should be able to provide some contacts for you to go up the chain as well.
Yeah, thank you. Another question that came through is, when I'm talking with other operators, should I be talking about commissions for any referrals or partnerships?
So that's a really interesting question, and one that I get a lot actually. So there's a number of different ways that you can look at working with other operators. So sometimes you just start doing what we call a bundle, so bundling experiences together, where you promote an experience, but there's not actually a price point attached to it. Or you can actually work as a package, which is where you do have a price point put on something and it's sold usually by one business and the bookings are disseminated out to others. So it's really up to you as your business, but if you're just looking specifically to start with a bundling or referrals, you generally wouldn't offer a commission or a discount. But when you get to that packaging stage, you might want to make sure that you've included commission so that you can work with distribution partners, or you might want to also put a slight discount on there so that package price becomes a bit of a discounted price and it's more appealing to the visitor. So, but if you're just looking at referrals and bundling in the first instance, which is where most businesses start, you wouldn't be looking at sharing a commission.
Yeah, thank you. What are some good conferences that I should attend?
There's lots of different ones. Probably best to really look at your local tourism organisation first. They quite often have networking events this time of year, Christmas parties as well, which is a good time to connect with tourism organisations. So start there and see what sort of regular events they run. And sometimes they will have speakers that attend the different events as well. Then at a regional level, there's a few different ones that happen depending on where you are. Things like visitor economy task force or symposiums, regional workshops, across the country as well, where there's training programs for the industry. And then at a national level, there's the Destination Australia Conference, which happens early into the new year. So have a look at that through Tourism Australia as well.
Yeah, thanks so much. And there's just one more question. How do I get involved in trade shows?
Yeah, so that's a good question too. So trade shows are events that are run by the State Tourism Organisation or Tourism Australia. So firstly, you need to have a relationship with them and they need to be aware of your business and the product that you offer. And to attend a trade show, you also need to be distribution ready. So ready to work with distribution partners and the travel trade, making sure that you have an understanding of commission and you've got pricing structures in place as well. So local tourism organisations often attend trade shows on behalf of a destination, and that's usually a good platform to attend your first one. So in that first instance, start talking to your LTO about what trade shows they attend, if any, and see if you can partner with them on those.
Thanks, Naomi.
No worries. Is that all the questions, Fed?
Yeah, that was all the questions.
Okay, great. All right. Well, that's a wrap on the webinar for today. Please feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions. Our contact details are here on the screen. Thank you for your time to join us today. We really appreciate how important your time is, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.